Servus Männer, it's Red Bull Germany again. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather lately. That is why I didn't upload in almost a month. But now I am back. I'm feeling quite well again and I'm ready for action, so to speak. Today, I want to give you a little heads up on the current situation in Germany, and I want to focus especially on one very spicy affair around the um, candidate for governor for the SPD in Hessia, in Hessen, yeah, our federal state, Hessen. In a week, I think, in Bavaria and in Hessen, there will be elections for the state parliament. And yeah, Frau Nancy Faeser, who is the candidate for the SPD in Hessen, she is also the federal minister for the interior right now. And yeah, I think nobody thinks that she becomes governor in Hessen, but nevertheless, she's the candidate there. Um, and right now, she is involved in a scandal. And this is probably the first time that average normie Germans become aware that our regime is using the secret police against not only dissidents, but against their own officers if they want to get rid of them. And they do so illegally, of course, because there are rules for these things, obviously. Um, and in today's presentation, I just want to illuminate you as to what happened here and how this might change public perception. I've been talking about something like this already a year ago. I told you back then that in the Ministry for the Economy under Mr. Habeck, something like that happened already. But back then, public interest was not so high, and I don't think the average German ever realized what is happening, but now this is different. And I will tell you also why that is. So, Mr. Arne Schönbohm, he is a public officer. He was heading a federal office for data security or something like that. As you can imagine, this becomes a more and more important topic, and he is a CDU guy. I think he's a CDU member, and his father was also a prominent guy from the CDU. And obviously, the Ministry for the Interior, that is the, um, I should say the office or the ministry above, they are led by the SPD. As I said, Nancy Faeser from the SPD. I guess they wanted to get rid of this guy. I don't really know what the motivation is, but there was a TV show. It is a very notorious propaganda show of the German regime. It is something like The Daily Show, maybe. It's like it camouflages as comedy, but it is actually political agitation. And the so-called comedian there is a certain Jan Böhmermann. And he made a segment, he aired a segment that showed Mr. Schönbohm, or it painted him as basically a stooge of Putin or something, that there are some connections to Russia and that he's unqualified and he's untrustworthy and so on. And it is known that people from the Ministry for the Interior, that they talked to Böhmermann before that show. So it is not known whether or not Böhmermann was taking orders from the ministry, or if that was something else, or that he was just informing them, or I don't know. But it's suspicious, let's just say. Okay, so then um, the some official, sorry, of the Ministry for the Interior, he went to Mr. Schönbohm, that CDU guy in this data security office, and he told him, yeah, well, you should really step down before we take disciplinary action against you. And then he said, wait a second, I didn't do anything wrong. And he actually went on the offensive. He said, I am gonna apply for disciplinary action um, on my own. Yeah? So I will ask the office or the ministry to start disciplinary action against me because I want to know what I supposedly did wrong. Yeah, and this disciplinary action never started because there was absolutely nothing against him. It was all a bluff. They just wanted to get rid of him, and they used propaganda methods in order to smear him publicly with a federal audience, millions of people. They painted him as a traitor, basically, and he never did anything wrong. Um, yeah, and that was not enough. That would have been bad enough. But no, Miss Faeser went even further. She got the secret police involved, and she told them, hey, find dirt on this guy. And this is illegal. Normally, you're only allowed, I think, to investigate something like that if you have suspicion. And even if you have suspicion for something, only 3 months or something you can investigate. But they investigated for 7 months, and then they found nothing. Like they used really the German secret police in order to find dirt on this guy. They came up with 0. And then Miss Faeser said, well, you should become creative. That's not good enough. Find something against this guy. And I don't care if you break the rules, do whatever you need to do in order to in other words, of course, she can always deny that, but it sounds to me like she told those officers from the secret police to fabricate evidence against him. Because if you don't find anything after 7 months and then say, I want something, yeah, that means go fabricate something. Yeah? And that is crazy. And this is now revealed to the German public and also before the election. But this was not something that was sitting in the opposition's desk drawer and they waited for the election. No, this is an ongoing affair. Yeah, it started last October, I think, and the trial because he is suing, of course. Yeah, it is an ongoing affair. Yeah, so this is not something that has happened 5 years ago and they waited now to reveal it. No, this is really an ongoing affair. So it is a live scandal before the elections in Hesse. That's how you say it, Hesse, yeah, in English, Hessen. Yeah. All right. So I reported about similar things a long time ago already, over a year ago, I think. But as I said, this seems to be the first time that normie Germans wake up to the reality that, the secret police in Germany is actually investigating public officers if politicians just want to get rid of them. Yeah, and to a certain degree, this is normal. Like when after the election, a different party takes over power on the federal level. Yeah, of course they like the state secretaries and stuff. They put their people there. But this Office for Information Security or data security, that is really not a big or super important federal office. So it is kind of weird that they would do that now. And he was not a top, really high federal level officer. So that means normally it is not usual that they would replace people down to that level. They normally just leave the people there that were put there by the government before, or like 5 governments before, I don't know. So this is a very unusual affair. So I don't know if Faeser just got wrong information of this daily show late night clown there. It's not even daily, it's weekly, or I don't know. But this TV clown, he's a very communist, Antifa left-wing guy. By the way, Miss Faeser is also a proud member of Antifa. And they're in power now, and there seems to be a coordinated effort now, or a network of the secret police, of the public broadcasting media, and of our regime, of our government, of the state, federal offices, etc. So they all work together in order to get rid of people that they don't like or that are not Antifa enough. Yeah. And by the way, Germans are finally waking up to this, and as a closing statement, I want to say I've been making videos like this or presentations like this for many years, and I always said, well, Germans will never wake up, and I kind of talk about these affairs and these things and how our government and our system here changes, morphs more or less into a totalitarian um, pseudo-democracy, basically. But Germans never really reacted to this. They acted as if this doesn't happen, or they really didn't get it. Yeah? But I think now, in 2023, finally something changes, and this has to do, as I said, with the worsening economic situation, with the energy supply, with the fuel prices, with the yeah, these continuing wave of irregular travelers that are facing our way. And yeah, I think now in polling data, you can see that Germans are, to a certain degree at least, waking up. Federally, the AfD has over 20% now, 21, I think. In some states, well over 30%. And also the Freien Wähler in Bavaria, they're branching out to other states like Saxony and Hessen and stuff. And that is also an anti-establishment movement. They're not nationalist like the AfD, but they're definitely anti-establishment, very grassroots. And this is threatening, of course, the globalist elite that has their satraps, their officers here installed in Germany to rule Germany according to their desires. And this is threatened now, I think. So interesting times. And finally, public opinion changes. And I will let you guys know what happens next weekend in Bavaria and in Hesse. So long. Servus, Kameraden.